Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach, and I'm talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk about what to look for a PhD program, or what to look for in a particular PhD program in terms of the support for doctoral students, right? So if you don't know, I'm actually a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. Created this whole reciprocity platform. It's a sharing economy proofreading platform to help out other people as much as I possibly can. And as part of that, I'm trying to be as open and honest as possible with putting out these videos to help you sort of choose your PhD and get out there and actually do a really good job of getting into this sort of academic world. Okay. So with that, there's so much more to think about with support for doctoral students that you're probably underestimating, and this support that is important. So most of you are probably thinking in terms of financial support, right? Like how much money do they actually have at the program? That's a really small component of what you should be thinking about in terms of what you're actually going to get. So you often get a PhD stipend. Most people will get a PhD stipend in almost every field. Doesn't matter what field it is. From what I understand, and now I might be proven wrong, you're going to get somewhere between like $10,000 to $20,000 a year, give or take, even a little bit more, a little bit less. There's some sort of stipend that you get, and that's just one component of what you should be thinking about. The other thing that you should be thinking about is research and conference support. So do you actually get a little bit of a budget? And it's usually not very much, but you should get a little bit of a budget for going to conferences every year. So maybe it's $1,000 or something along those lines, or $500. But you should get something to go to conferences, because this kind of stuff is really expensive and it does add up very quickly. To go to any particular conference, you're looking for, probably $1,000 to $1,500 by the time you're done. And some more sort of mainstream conferences are probably a couple of $1,000 by the time you fly to any of those particular ones, as a rough estimate. Particularly within America and whatnot, it adds up very quickly. So you should need that sort of support. And as a doctoral student, you should be doing conferences, maybe not at the beginning for the first year or two, but definitely you'll be doing that later on, and that becomes a really big part of what your life is. The second thing that I think is important that is always neglected, and most people neglect this, and this is very, very important. Do not underestimate this. I'm being very, very serious, is the moral support that you get during your PhD program. And you should be looking for supervisors or mentors, or whoever you want to say, your advisors, is the type of person that's going to pick you up and raise you when you're feeling bad, right? So when you're feeling really down, you need somebody that's going to pick you up and give you support, because the whole program, the whole thing, starting from you're not going to feel it within your first 6 months, but then after that, you're going to start feeling really down. It's totally normal, and it's a part of the process. Unfortunately, it's all has to do with expending a lot of resources with learning, and lots of people do feel down, and it's a rare person that is going to feel very enlightened and all that kind of stuff. So you do feel down along the process, and you need somebody that's going to give you moral support. And you have to look for people, whatever signals, you have to look for signals about people giving you moral support along the way. So a third thing that's important, and people underestimate this, is those particular people at that program, do they have a research network? So what does that mean? Are they actually communicating with people that are doing research in really good schools, and that can get you into a really good school or go to a really nice conference, or things like that? This is actually called, there's a whole phenomenon in sociology about the sociology of science. There's a whole literature on this, and it's all about the Matthew effect, and that's really what it's all about, is getting into the right network, and the compounding effects that has on you and in terms of your career going forward. You have to look for those. That's important, because it does have compounding effects. If you get into a good network, then you might meet a good co-author, and you might actually get better papers and all that kind of stuff, and then eventually make more money. And there's a whole thing that you have to look at. And that research network is very important. So look to see where those people are actually communicating with, where they go into conferences, who are their co-authors, things like that. Those are really strong signals in terms of understanding what the research network is. And then the fourth thing is very much, and it's related to this, is just the intellectual support you're going to get, right? So some people are really not so good in terms of their mentorship because they just don't give you a lot of intellectual support. They let you do your own thing as a PhD student. As soon as you get that, you probably want to run. You want somebody that's going to be meddling with your work and really pushing you forward. There is different research styles and there's different supervising styles, but if somebody's not pushing you to think very difficultly and pushing you to sort of understand what you're getting at, you know what, they're not trying very hard, or maybe they're compensating in other ways. Maybe they're so famous that they can compensate in other ways, but basically you want somebody that is going to push you and to be willing to work with you. You're probably going to have to do 95% of the work, but if you can actually communicate and have somebody just be there to push your particular ideas, that's going to be very, very good in terms of your own research going forward. So you need somebody that's going to be very intellectually smart in a lot of different ways. So those are the things that I would personally look for support for doctoral students. The sort of financial support, it's important. It very much is important. I'm not discounting it, but there's a lot of other things that you don't see that are very important in terms of your research, your career going forward, and whether you actually complete a PhD. That's important, right? A lot of people, I would say, I don't know what the statistics are, but I would say that about half of the people don't finish a PhD or a DB, a doctorate of some sort, when they start the program. It's probably even more than that because it is so tough and so rigorous, and it's all up to you. So you need a lot of this support for you to continue to go forward. So that's all I want to talk about today. Again, I apologize for the surroundings. I'm at a conference. Anyways, give me a thumbs up if you like this one, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.